Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good, and we're going to be now doing a quick video on how to prepare in the last 1 month of your CIA level 1 exam. Okay, I've given you the overall plan. I've also given you the order of revision. Plus, I will also highlight which chapter I feel is most important when you look at the overall curriculum of CIA level 1 in this upcoming exam. Okay, so let us start with a very smart plan to complete your CAIA final leg, CIA level 1's final leg in the last 1 month. Okay, so what are we actually talking about? I'll just give you a brief about the exam. So CIA level 1 exam is basically conducted in two ways. Basically, it's a morning slot and the afternoon slot. There is 100 question, 2 hours time frame, and the overall time is around 4 hours. When you go to level 2, okay, the time is same, but the MCQs will come down. Okay, now the exam is conducted in March and September. Okay, so upcoming exam is March, and what I've seen historically is that the exam is more focused on the concepts. Okay, they are not expecting any student to do the mugging or remembering a lot of content. Okay, so it's more concept based, more application based. Okay, even though the questions might be smaller, the focus of the question is to drive the understanding of the student. Okay, so focus more when you're doing the revision. Also try to get more closer to what is happening in the paragraph, what is the concept that they are trying to test you. So concept clarity is very important for your exam preparation. So let us start. I've tried to give you a brief about the exam structure. Now I'll directly move towards what should be your overall thought process. Okay, the CI curriculum is primarily broken into around 32 chapters. Okay, now on the screen you should be able to see the pattern. Okay, the pattern in the sense they are talking about the books, and the important part, what is that? The weightages. Okay, so you will see the weightages, and when you look at the bifurcation, okay, of the weightages, you will find that introduction to alternative asset is the highest weightage, and you will also find the list of chapter in that is also slightly highest. Okay, higher, around 8 chapters you will find in that particular book. Okay, then there is also ethics which they are testing. So previously they were using CFA ethics. Now what they've done is they have moved towards the CIA ethics, and they've added 2 new chapters into 2026 curriculum. So that is one thing that is there, and the weightage is also around 15 to 25% range. Then you will find real asset, hedge funds, and private debt. Okay, almost in the range of similar weightages. Okay, so when you look at the exam pattern, okay, the most of the content that is going to get tested is basically from introduction to alternative asset, private debt, hedge fund. Okay, and then the ethics part. Okay, so this is the overall exam structure in terms of the weightages for each book. Now, if I am a student of your CI level 1 exam, what I should be focusing in the last 1 month. Okay, so weekdays, obviously I am very close to the exam, so my focus has to be slightly more number of hours. Okay, so it should be around 5 to 6 hours properly preparation on the weekends and on weekdays, because lot of students, they are working. So when they are working, they might not be able to dedicate more than 2 hours. So it's a fair idea to dedicate around only 2 hours per day. And within that also, what you can do is, when you're looking at the final leg of preparation, you might have to revise faster. Okay, when you want to revise faster, you can break down your day within, say, around 1 subject or 2 subjects, like that. Okay, if suppose you are able to dedicate 4 hours or 5 hours on that weekend, okay, say Saturday and Sunday, 5 hours, so you can focus on completing 3 subjects, or say for example 2 subjects, depending upon what is the length of the subject that you have chosen. Okay, for example, if I'm reading, say, digital asset, funds of funds, and I'm doing it along with ethics, I'll be able to complete 3-4 books together, because the number of chapters are lesser. Okay, what if you're revising 2 subjects is what you should be targeting on. Roughly, it's not per day, actually it's primarily a bucket of 3 days, 3 to 4 days you should be able to focus on 2 subjects per 2 to 3 days bucket. Okay, weekly, what I generally suggest people is that study and solve some MCQ, 1 or 2 questions for each concept, or 1 or 2 questions, or 10-15 questions for each chapter. Now also in the final leg, if you feel that the chapter is very good, you have covered almost everything, then there is no need to solve the MCQ. But if you are not confident, then you can follow this pattern of studying the chapter and doing the MCQ immediately. Okay, revision is very important, so make sure that you are able to revise it properly. Okay, do not skip any chapter while in the revision phase, and If there is any weak area, weak section, weak chapter, focus more on solving of those weak chapters. Okay, now I generally suggest people that take the initial 10 to 15 days to do your final revision, brushing up on the weak areas, right? So what should be your overall structure? And this is very, very important. Okay, I generally say, I'm saying that out of the overall 30 days, okay, dedicate the first 15 days of reading the entire content again. And how do you read it? I'll tell you the order also. This is what I feel should be covering in the content. But when you're reading, focus should be more on looking at the difficult chapters, okay, looking at important concepts or important chapters for revision, okay. And when you're done with one full reading, okay, this is basically, you have to visualize, this is my second final revision, okay, not the final one, the second final. And then do a 4-day revision, because now you're going to go for the mock, okay. The first mock, I would suggest you to give the CAIA mock, okay, CAIA official mock, okay. You take 4 days, do it properly, give the mock properly, okay. Then again take some gap, 2 to 3 days gap, because you have to revise. You have to revise what mistakes you made. You have to revise the weak areas again, okay. So between each mocks, ideally you should dedicate around 2 to 3 days properly, okay. So that dedication is there, okay, that gap. Then give the second mock on the 22nd day of that month. Then again 2 to 3 days gap. Then again 26th day, the third mock. Ideally you should be able to give 3 mocks. Now a lot of students have their query that, okay, I am not completed my preparation, I might not be able to give 3 mocks. That's okay. Minimum to minimum 1 mock, so that you understand how is the actual exam structure. And if you have time, then give 3 mocks, okay. And then after the third mock is done, you need some time. That's why I've given around 4 days over here. That's why I've given around 4 days to visualize and compare that entire final preparation or final reading in one go. And then you go on the actual exam date, okay. That should be your strategy, okay. First 15 days, full one reading of the content very fast. Then again do first revision and give the mock on the 19th day. Take some gap, 2 to 3 days, revise, analyze, second mock, then again revise, analyze, take some gap, and give the third mock, and then the final revision before the exam. Now what should be your order of preparation? Now I have purposely changed the order, okay. I've kept the order slightly different, because these 3 books, okay, most of the heavy topics are over here, okay, the private debt, hedge fund, and private equity. So focus should be on that part, okay. So follow that order, and also then you come to the introduction to alternative investment. Now why introduction to alternative investment is slightly late, even though the weightage is higher? Because the initial 2 chapters are not very tough, it's very basic. The quant section is slightly, quant and derivative section is slightly tougher, okay. Then you have the real asset section, real asset fund, and these are slightly easy concepts, so not very difficult. So majority of the tough part which a lot of students face is the initial 4 books that I've mentioned, which is the private debt, hedge fund, private equity, and introduction to alternative investment, okay. Now within each subjects, which chapter you should focus more on, so I'll be telling you that concept also, okay. Now when we talk about the private debt book, okay, what I have seen historically is that the cash based strategy is important, okay, structuring is important, and credit risk and credit derivative. These 3 books chapters generally important from the, and also when I see the previous exams, I feel that they can test you more on these topics from the private debt section, okay, private debt section, okay. So remember that also. When we talk about the hedge fund, okay, now within the hedge fund, okay, the macro and micro strategy, relative hedge fund strategy, and the equity hedge fund strategies, okay, 3 chapters: macro and micro, macro and managed, relative, and equity hedge fund. These strategies are generally more testable in the exam, so focus more on reading. This is from the revision perspective, okay, only the revision perspective. Private equity, so more of from the buyout and venture capital chapter, okay, read more of that. Introduction to alternative investments, okay. Now over here I generally find financial economics foundation, okay, and measure of financial risk and alpha and beta. These 3 chapters you should read more. So if you're reading through treasure books, just read the content more properly once again, okay. Then there is real asset. Within that, the other real asset, and sorry, not this chapter, the real asset method. So these 2 chapters is what you're supposed to focus on, other real asset and the real asset methods, Okay, read these two chapters properly before the exam. In your final day revision, also keep these two chapters in your final reading list. Then you have funds of fund, digital asset. Then the digital asset, the first chapter, digital ledger technology, very, very important. Ethics, both chapter are important. Okay, do not skip that. Read the textbook. There are some case studies also, but read it properly for the exam. Okay, these are just high return on investment topics which I have identified for each book. Okay, that should be your focus area. And if suppose you are doing some level of question solving before the exam, just to analyze some weak areas, what you should be looking at is you should mark those questions where there is some problem, mark those questions where there is some concept clarity needed, so that when you do your first revision, second revision, or even do the final revision, you have the concept, you have the clarity that which concept I have to read. Okay, so what I'm suggesting over here, you can make marking. Say for example, I have marked cross in front of a question which I did not understand, so I have to revise the concept. Okay, I have marked a question as star. Why? Because I understand the logic, but the question is very good. It's a very unique question, so it is testing my concept. So I marked that as star. Okay, then there are certain questions which are easy solvable, so low hanging fruits, so you can mark them as straight away tick. Then there are certain questions which are time consuming, so I'll mark them separately, because even though those questions are coming in the exam, I might not tackle them immediately, because I know if I enter into that question, I might not be able to pick it up. Okay, so that's the overall idea. Okay, identifying your strong and weak areas. So once you're done with one full reading and you're going towards the first revision before the mocks, you should be able to identify what are my weak areas, what are my strong areas. Okay, now which chapter is strong, which chapter is weak. If you have that mental clarity that out of 32 chapters, I wish to go and pick up, I understand that around 25 is strong, but around 7-8 chapters I am weak. Okay, now once you identified those weak areas, okay, you can take a decision whether solving will help me out, okay, whether reading more chapter, because that weak area right now I'm very low in confidence. Okay, but whether if I put some time in reading, put some time in solving, will that confidence come again? Okay, so you can take that decision. Okay, in most cases I would recommend people to go and revisit the chapter, read the textbook once again. Okay, for those weak areas. For strong areas, you should know, okay, these chapters are good, you should revise the formulas again, you should revise the concept again. Okay, how to do revision? My general suggestion is make sure that you identify the difficult chapters which are nothing but the weak areas. Okay, revise them again twice. If there is an easy chapter, just revise it one, because you have more or less the good confidence in that section. Ethics, revise multiple times, because it's a new 2 chapters that have been added in 2026, and I also generally expect that institute is going to test you decently well in the ethics concept, so do not skip that also. Okay, don't just reread, you have to do a proper revision. Just don't read the concept. Okay, make sure you stop there, check the concept, read the formula again, understand the concept again, and then you move ahead. Okay, that's what the overall suggestion is. Look at very smart revision plan. Okay, that the flow that I have explained you in terms of the final 1 month of preparation. Okay, how do we help students in preparing for the exam? So we have good level of question bank available. We have the chapterized PPTs. We are also adding the summary PPTs now. We have the full video lectures available. Okay, there's a study planner. If suppose you're going for the next attempt and you want a detailed study plan to prepare for the exam, that is also available. Okay, and we admissions now have opened for the next attempt, also the September attempt. Okay, so you can reach us on our number, on our WhatsApp number, which is here. Okay, the 9819137880. Okay, we have these 3 plans, which is basic, standard, and live professional. So these 3 plans are available. All the details are available on our website. You can access it there also. Okay, there are a few demo sessions of the standard plan that has been available over here, so you can access those demo sessions also. Plus we have been also adding a lot of videos of students who have cleared the exam, so you can go through those videos, understand how AP students are clearing the exam. So it is not just about CAIA. You can refer to FRM, CFA, all of these exams, because these are competitive exams and it takes a lot of effort, time for you to go and prepare for these exams, right? So that's why we have been adding a lot of students success story, so that they can help you motivate, they can help you understand what are the nitty-gritties of preparing for any competitive exam. Okay, and we also do a lot of podcasts which we have been doing, because we understand that the skill set that is needed in the exam and the skill set that is needed in the industry is slightly different. So these podcasts will guide students to prepare better for their actual role in the industry. Okay, that's the overall idea. And if you're new to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. Okay, and we keep on adding a lot of new content every week on finance and finance career that will help you to prepare better for your exams, not only just exams, and also for your career in finance. Okay, so thank you very much for joining in, and I hope this video helps you in your 1 month preparation. At least the order and the plan that you have in mind, that should be clear in your reference. Okay, so again, thank you very much for joining. If you have any query, you can reach us on this WhatsApp number, okay, which is there here on the description also. My team will basically help you out to prepare properly for the exam. Okay, so thank you again. Thank you very much for joining.